Good morning, traders. Oh, here we go. Okay, making sure everything's looking like it's working right. I want to do a review of the week, review of price action, but also a review of me during the week. Probably more of a selfish maneuver than anything else, because I want to talk about, this whole trading journey has been an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. If you've been doing it a while, then you know what I'm talking about. But I want to just go over some of the things that happened this week, some of the things that have been happening in the since the government shutdown, in my opinion, that has made trading a little more difficult. I don't know why I put 1 minute. Let's go with the daily. I'll begin with just doing a review of the week, what happened in price and all. You can see on the daily chart, we had that new week opening gap here. We ended up filling it, and we came down, and we actually took out, I'll go back to the weekly for a second. We actually took out this weekly low right here. And then that's where we reversed and went back up to about 25% of the weekly range, I would guess. Let's just measure that. Yeah, a little more than 25% of the weekly range. But that yesterday was a good movement, good price action. That's that new week opening gap that we filled. And just based on the chart and everything, I feel like we could offer a little lower before going back up, but we may not. I think we should offer a little bit lower. Maybe we'll aim for some of these, but it's kind of hard to say where we're going to go next. Really can't speculate that, and that's one of the things I want to talk about. If we reach for this monthly low right there, that would be a good pullback for a Santa Claus rally. That would be pretty good ways down. 24,172, that's not bad. And I don't know if we could get down far enough to take these out, but possibly. I think around 23,000 there were relative equal lows on the weekly chart or the daily chart, maybe. Let's just look at it. 23, I'll just put it at 23 even. Right there. Go to daily. Yeah, these are the ones I was thinking of. We have all of those, that good clean straight line. So that's a monthly low, and on a weekly chart, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, so they're relative equal lows on the weekly chart. I think this could be an ultimate target if we do start selling off, and then maybe trade down into this fair value gap even on the weekly chart. We're going to go there eventually. We're not going to stay up at the all-time highs forever. And typically October, November is sell-off time. And then we have Santa Claus rally. So seasonal tendency would be that we would sell off. So it'd be a good idea to just keep those levels in mind. Okay, so I'll leave those on the chart for now, and then we'll go looking at some other levels here in a minute. I want to talk about yesterday and the week in general. Okay, so let's just do a 5 minute, and this is all regular trading hours only, I think. No, we're in extended. Let me go to regular trading hours, and I want to talk about how this week differed from weeks past. We've been having a lot of days like this, or if you didn't get in on a move up here, you lost. You chop, 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 big move. Chop, 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 chop. Big move. That one went back up. That was actually a pretty good day. But a lot of the days have been one direction type of days. And that's unusual. You know, maybe we have a little pullback, but then we go one way. And here we went way down and then we just consolidated. So a lot of these days have just been up, 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 up. This one down, consolidate. This one up, 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 up. This one up, and then crazy choppy. There's just been a whole lot of difficult trading days. Down, 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 chop, 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 chop. And these are areas where it's difficult to get involved in a position. And it's kind of lulled me into this idea that if I don't get in on that first move, there ain't going to be no other move. And I got to make money. And so, you know, I didn't perform well during all of this stuff. I mean, you look at my stats on that XFA. Let's see which one it was. It was this one. And you look at the stats, I ended up having a losing day yesterday, but overall the week was profitable. But I lost a bunch of money, took a lot of trades. And, you know, this day I went nuts, took a lot of trades. But if you look at the overall stats on this thing, I had a good week this week, bad week the week before, good week my first week, bad week, a good week, decent week, and then another bad week, and then this goes into the November. But I one thing I've done that I've never done before is I managed to keep this account active now for 6 weeks, and I've gotten a payout on it, so that's good. Look at my monthly total. That's not so good, is it? Monthly P&L 503. I wonder if that's calculating after I took my payout, because I did take $1,800 out. I don't know if that's calculating that, because my account balance is even higher than that right now. Not sure that's accurate. Maybe that's for the month of October. Yeah, that's what it is, because I didn't do that well in October. But I managed to keep the account alive, and I did it by trading micros instead of minis, keeping my size small and all that. And so let's look at yesterday. Yesterday, I mean, I did good all week. I was doing pretty good, making good money. Maybe I went into yesterday a little bit confident. I don't know what it was, but I took a trade in pre-market yesterday, and actually it switched back to extended for some reason. So yeah, yesterday during London, I took a trade. I took one of these. So I was in this market up here short, and I think I was aiming for this low or that low. I can't remember which one, but I made about $600, a little over $600. I think I took one more and got it up. I was up $700. I knew I wasn't going to be able to trade when the market opened because I agreed to help a friend move. So I was like, you know, that's a good day right there. But then New York happened. I hadn't left the house yet. We opened the New York pre-market session. Where would that be? At 7. Yeah, this one right here. Yeah, 7 right there. So we took out this pre-market high. I felt like this was a nice little setup for a down move right here. And so I got involved with the down move. I can't remember exactly where this happened, but we had a 50-point rip back to the upside in one minute candle. That might be it. Let me see how big that candle is. It may have been a 60-point rip. No, that's only 20. Maybe that's the entire deal. Let's see. No, that's only, it was right at 7. I think it was this one. I think it was that. So I might not have gotten in right there. I may have gotten in somewhere around here, or maybe all the way down here. I don't know. But this little rip back up and these are 1 minute candles. It was like a 68 point rip, and it took some of my money. Yeah, 65 point rip back up to the upside. And that took 300 of my dollars I'd made, and I was kind of mad. I left, went ahead on to work to help my friend, and I didn't take any more trades until the afternoon session. And so, it's Friday. I'm a little bummed because I felt like I had the market called as far as where we were headed. It wasn't easy getting in and chop like that, but man, if I'd have just held that London trade, I'd have been golden. But on the live stream, I mentioned that there was some levels down here I was interested in. 933 was 25% of the week, and then we had a weekly low at 804, and so that's the low we ended up working through and taking out. We also had relative equal lows on the 4 hour that were at 680. So I was thinking we were going down there. But so I get into the market. I probably start trading somewhere around this area. I know I was still watching, and I was looking. I was like, okay, the momentum seems to be slowing. And this little section right here was where I took my first trade. So on this one, we come up, we validate the breaker, so I would be putting my entry here, and then I think I got stopped out on that one. That may not be the one. Let me just measure that candle. Yeah, so that's 45 points. If I would have gotten in here, I would have got smoked for sure. But we made a higher low, and I was like, okay, well, this could be it right here. And so I got in again here. Zippity doo-dah. I mean, that took me out big time. So this is one validated breaker. This is number two with a higher low. Here's another one. Breakers here. We validated it, respected, made a lower low. On a directional day, you'll see that over and over and over. So when this one happened, and about this time, I'm out of all of my profit I made is gone. I'm in the hole. And I'm like, I just should have not traded anymore after that London session. And so I'm mad, emotionally. I'm completely different than I traded the rest of the week. I mean, completely different. Maybe Tuesday, it was similar to what I did on Tuesday. But instead of being patient and waiting for a trade setup and just reading price action, rather than saying, ooh, I think it's going down here, or ooh, I think it's going up there. If I just stop and read price action and I don't add my thoughts into the mix, that's when I trade my best. And so here we were reading price action, good setup, smoked, good setup, smoked, good setup, smoked. That's three. There's another one right here. We validated this breaker, fair value gap, respected. You think at least we're going to take that high. We don't. Smoked. So that's four. Failed. Let's just make sure we didn't take that high. And that's a 45 quarter. That's 45 even. So no, we did not take that high. We took the low there. So that's lending, hey, we're going up. Didn't take the high. You could have made profit on that one, even just from here to there. You could have made a few points, but you'd be thinking it's taking the high. I mean, to right there, that's 55 points. That's not bad. But when that high is not taken, I mean, that's an indication we're going lower. So if I would have been involved in the market when we opened, I would have most likely been looking for a short here, because I was thinking that's where we were trading. There was three 4-hour levels, a daily level and a weekly level down there that I'd marked out and called out in the live stream. So we took the weekly level. Finally, we were already past it here. The weekly level was right here at 804. I already removed all my lines off the chart. So the weekly level was right there at 804. And so we'd already started pushing below it, and then we pushed a little lower, and then we have this right here at 680. We have the 4-hour relative equal lows right there. And so when we failed this one again, I went short, and I was like, we're taking that line. I was thinking, we're taking that line. And from then on, all of this move up, I was trying to catch a short on every one of them, eroding more and more and more profit until finally I was $400 in the hole, and I was like, I got to shut this thing down. And I just locked my account. I did get in a trade somewhere around here and got up here, and we stalled out at 25,000, and I was thinking I should kill it. It's round number. And so I did, and then it went on the remainder of that monumental run. That would have actually got me out of the hole if I would have just held that trade just to these relative equal highs. I would have been okay. But I was emotionally spent back like that. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about, being emotionally spent. If you're long on the day here, then you were going to be taking these. You would take that one. Maybe you made a little money. Maybe you got stopped out at break even. Here, lost it. Here, lost it. Here, lost it. And so you're not going to be real confident. Emotionally, you've been beaten down. You're not going to be real confident on that last one. And I don't know if I'd taken 2 trades by then, but this level right here was like, I was like, it's got to be going there. And but we didn't. When we did finally reverse, this is a beautiful reversal pattern. If I'm just reading price action here, we pushed down, consolidated, tried to push down again, immediate rebalance. We created a breaker right there, a potential breaker. So let's say you've already endured this, and we go up, and we take out some highs here. And so, okay, we took those highs, we got to be going down again. And I do believe I was in a short. I may have even added a little bit. And when we touched that fair value gap, I was like, okay, we're going to push through it. I know we are. And I continued to hold while we went back up, and then ended up getting stopped out at break even. I think at that point, my head was really just about to explode. And I should have turned off my computer and walked away. But I was like, I was up $600. I want to finish the week strong. But if you look at that, let's say you don't get in on this one. That's the place where you would have entered. Say you'd miss that. This is the second opportunity to enter. We came right back down to this fair value gap. My normal entry, when my brain is functioning properly, is one tick above. If it's a downside, it would one tick below, but one tick above the low of this candle right here. So my entry would have been at around 763. The low of this candle is 762 half. So I would have put my entry at 762.75 rather. And just waited. On a normal day, I would have waited patiently until it either came back down here and filled me, or I just wouldn't have gotten in the trade. Didn't do that. When I finally became convinced we were going higher, I was chasing. I got in on a few longs and killed them because I was like, I'm too nervous about taking a long because all of that level down here. When I'm feeling that inconfident about where the market's headed, I just don't need to be trading. But I wanted to make money yesterday. I wanted to get my money back yesterday. So this one would have filled me. What kind of drawdown would I take? Would have been filled right above the top of that. That's 6 points. Stop would have probably been below this candle right here. It's 25 points. Would have been fine. Any size contract you want, you could put on there and you would have been fine. And just aim for those highs, or if you really, I saw these as the draw. And so I probably would have been aiming for there had I been long-minded and had I gotten in right there. And it would have been one heck of a day. Because that's a lot of points. When I did finally getting along, that's where I aimed, but I ended up killing it. It's 284 points. One micro would have paid you close to $600. So yeah, that would have been a really nice move to get involved in, but I missed it. And then when I realized, okay, that was it, and I did miss it, I tried to get back in. Pull back here, I get in. Gummit, you sorry, no good son of a gun. And then this little mess. This doesn't look like much. Just looking at it there, doesn't look like much. But as it starts pushing higher, I get in here. How much is my stop? 25 points. If I get in up here at the high, I get stopped out. So I should have been buying down here after we went out. We didn't take a low though. I mean, we pushed down, we took that low. Guess this is a fair value gap. Maybe we worked into it. I just wasn't reading tape well at that point. My mind was gone, and I should have had my computer off. But I did end up catching one around here, and I think I just took it off at 25. Made a little bit of the money back, but not much. So emotional, you only willpower, all that good stuff. You only have so much. It doesn't last forever. So as you're watching these things, I used to blow up my accounts every single Friday. It didn't matter if it was a combine, XFA, whatever. I would blow them up every Friday. And I even went through a point where like, I'm just not going to trade on Friday. And I was like, Friday isn't necessarily the problem. It's something going on inside of me. So I started watching a lot of the videos from psychology and stuff like that. And you do have a set amount of willpower that you can endure. And my bad habits that I picked up along the way is, and I actually had this happen one day this week where I woke up, looked at my phone, and was like, ooh, that looks like it's going down. Or, ooh, that looks like it's going up. I think on that day I said, it looks like it's going up. And I was just going to come in here and click the mouse and take a trade without a setup one. No setup anywhere. And that's what I've been doing wrong. And that's the habits that I developed as I've been on this journey. But I don't need to do that. All I need to do is wait for something like this to happen. If you look at the 4 hour on the regular trading hour, there it is. We went through this 4 hour. Oh, yeah, that's yesterday's price action. So we went through this one, and that also corresponded well with a daily. And then the weekly, this was the relative equal lows on the 4 hour that I was looking at. I was actually looking at that one. And then that's the one we pushed through. So on the weekly, it was that one right there. Oops. So that's the one, that's the one with the power. That's the one we ended up taking. But we'd pushed through a few 4 hour RTH. Okay. So there's one right there too. We opened below that one. So that's the 4 hour. We pushed through it. Then we pushed through the weekly. And there was also a daily level in here that I had marked out. And it was right there. So we pushed through it as well. Each time we push through one of these, you look for a reversal. I mean, that's the plan. That's the program. Each time we pass through one, we look for a reversal. So let's go back to that 1 minute and let's take a peek at that. This one we opened right near all of these. So then we'd taken them out. So that's a place where you'd want to look for a reversal, and we take the highs. Didn't do it. Got smoked if you were waiting for one of these highs. Missed that one by a tick. You were most likely stopped out at break even, and you'd get pretty angry about that. And then, so that's one. And then here we take out this level. We put up a reversal pattern. We don't take any highs. It fails. But here we make a higher low, so maybe you're thinking, oh yeah, we're still going to be good, and then we get smoked. And then we do it again, higher low, and we get smoked. All of these are viable trade setups that you need to take when you see them in the market. You need to take them. Even though it's a directional day at this point, it's after 11, the chance of the market reversing is slim, you still need to take them because that's your trading plan. Higher time frame level has been taken, reversal patterns present, you take it. Win or lose, you take it. Get a good entry, you take it. So if we followed that plan yesterday, we lose this trade, we lose this trade, we lose that trade, we lose that trade, we win this trade. So that's 4 trades we lost. Now I want you to think about your stop loss. You get into a trade and you hold it till it hits your stop loss. What is your stop loss? If you're trading minis and it's $500, you just $2,000 just went out the window. If you're trading a micro at 25 points, one micro at 25 points, that's $50. Okay, so you lost 50, 50, 50, 50. You're down $200 here, aiming for that high. One micro, you made $600. That's only if you waited to enter here. If you entered here, you might have got smoked on that one too. Let's see. Yeah, 34 points. So you might have got smoked on that one too. So let's say you entered here, that's 5. Now you're down $250. Finally, it pokes here. It says we're going back up. Maybe you enter in here, maybe you enter in this. Once it pulls away from here, try to get in there. Still, aiming for those relative equal highs right there. If you got in here, if you were that patient and waited to get in right there, one micro, $400. That's a profit. But if you lose 5 trades and you have even a $200 stop loss, like you're doing 4 micros, I would have a $200 stop loss. That would be $800 in the hole. $200, $1,000 in the hole already. If you continued to trade 4, you still would have made money. But what I've been doing on my successful days is getting in with 1 or 2 max. And then when we get a pullback like that, I would add 1 more. Maybe I get in here. I would have got smoked 100%. I would have been very angry. I may not have got back in on that one. But that's a very nice respect of that fair value gap right there. If I was trading my system, I would have not got filled to right there. And then I would have been fine. With 1 micro, I could have added here. I could have added even in here because we're respecting that fair value gap. I could have added 1 there. And then this $600 would have turned into $1,200. That's not a bad day in anybody's book. It's not a mini kind of day. You're not going to make that kind of money, but it is a good day. So, yeah, I messed up yesterday. I lost money, but I think there is something to that Friday being a problem. And I also think I've heard so many traders tell me, and I did it myself, with the XFA, you get one, you're funded, you're excited, everything's going wonderful, you get 4 days of profit, and you're like, 1 more day and I'm going to get a payout. And you blow the account. That happens all the time to everybody in this trading business. Only 7% of the people industry-wide ever get that payout. So why, after 4 days, we blow stuff up? Why, on Friday, after 4 days of trading, that was my Achilles heel. I blew things up every Friday, and I think it has to do with that emotional bank that we have. It's internal. We don't think about it, but we only have willpower for so long, and it takes willpower to wait for that. If you were short, which I would have been short early in the market, definitely when we didn't take that high, I would have taken a short. But I wasn't here for that. So now I'm still thinking short, but on a Friday, you're tired. I had 4 hours sleep. I'd gone the day before. I'd only had 4 hours sleep, so I'm really tired. I'm not functioning well mentally anyway, and I'm just like, I don't even think I had any of these levels marked. I had this one marked, but I didn't have that weekly level marked. The weekly level here. This is our breaker. I don't know why I got it red. But you'll have to, the last piece of the puzzle in trading is always you. And you really have to look at what you did on the days that you did badly. What were you doing? What was your mental state? Was it a Friday? Had you been trading for 3 or 4 days? Some people don't have 3 or 4 days. Some people have 2 days. They can focus intently for 2 days and then they blow up an account. Or they have a bad day. Maybe they don't blow it up, but they have a losing day. And you just have to keep record of that. Journal it. Okay, I'm doing good for 2 days, or I'm doing good for 1 day and then I have a bad day. I'm doing good for another day and then I have a bad day. But going into the market with that mental mindset that I don't have to catch a trade today. I'm only going to take a trade if it meets my criteria. So the criteria is a shift in market structure, respecting the breaker, respecting the fair value gap after the breaker. This could also be considered a higher low, and then we go. This pattern repeats itself both to the upside and the downside every day, at least once. Sometimes we make a lower low and then we get a breaker. I don't know, like this was a lower low. That was our, see that? That's a lower low. But then we got our breaker respected. That's a shift in market structure. It repeats all the time. All the time. I'm not going to show you all those, but you can go back. But here's one of those directional days where if you didn't get in the beginning, it was difficult to get in. So I was short-minded that day. I was also short-minded this day. That was my bias, I guess you would say. So that's my weekend review. If you're having trouble at the end of the week or any particular day, think about that. Is it you're emotionally spent? You didn't get a good night's sleep. Any of those factors can affect your trading and your willingness to sit here and be patient and wait for a good setup. But if you wait for a good setup and you're trading small size, there is absolutely no way you're ever going to blow up an account ever again, and there's no way you'll eventually get to a payout. You will make money. I believe if you did a 1 micro challenge, you could pass. If you waited for one of these setups, you could pass a combine within a week and a half, 2 weeks, and get a payout from an XFA within a couple of weeks, just with 1 freaking micro. If you wait for one of these setups, get a good entry, aim for the highs. You're not going to win every day, but you're going to win a couple of days a week. This day, directional day, it was just a coin flip. You can find it. You can find a reversal pattern in here. I mean, we took those highs. That's our breaker. We're good. Go short. But it ran away. You didn't have an opportunity to re-enter till there. But it ran away the rest of the day. But even with 1 micro, that's going to pay you $300 or $400. It's when you try the minis or 5 micros or whatever, that's when you get in trouble. Because you may lose a couple of trades trying to get involved with a trade. But when you get in, it's going to do good for you. So your stop has to be manageable enough that you don't blow up your account trying to get into a trade. All right, so that's that soapbox. We're done with that. Delete. Let's look at what we got on the charts here. These levels, to me, if we continue to sell off, mucho importante. I don't think I'll make it the lowest low. I'll just put it there, and I'm going to label it. Equal weekly lows. $23.61 is, I'll put it at the lowest one. And let's just see what it says here. 23,600, 23,016.50. I don't have it exactly right. 23,016.50. Don't know if we'll get there this week, whatever, but I bet you by the end of November we're going to start making our way down here. Or maybe it may wait till January. May wait till January. But any of these weekly levels, we just took that one and we wanted to go back up. Maybe we work this gap a little more. Let's look at another weekly level right here. We just took that one, so we'll mark that one as well. And I'm going to clone it and mark the other one. And we also have a few here, and these two right here are interesting to me. I'll just mark that one. And we can mark those as equal. I'll just put an EQ because I'm going to go to a different chart here in a minute. There we go. Now, I want to go to monthly just for a moment and see which one of these correspond with a monthly. These right here do, that one does, that one does, that one doesn't. So I'm going to label those as such. Weekly and monthly. All right, and then we also have, that's on the monthly. This is another monthly low there. It may go there, but I'm just going to leave those for now. We don't want to put too many on there. So now let's go back to our daily. Which ones correspond with daily? Well, we have this one. That one did take it out. So we can also put on here The line color is what tells me it's a low. Equal, daily, and weekly. Very nice, very nice. Okay, and then this one is also a daily low. I want to make sure it gets in the right spot. Pretty close. Daily, weekly, monthly. Very interesting. And of course, this week's weekly low would be a good one to mark as well. That is a weekly low because it was this week, right? Yeah. So it would be a weekly daily, but not a monthly. It isn't a monthly, is it? Yeah, it is. Well, son of a gun. Daily, weekly, monthly, right there. And it's also going to be a 4-hour RTH. Boo. Dadgum y'all. All right, so we got all those to the downside marked. I believe this one could clone and go straight up top and turn to blue. I want to double check it, but let's make it blue. And then let's scale down. Is it a weekly? Yes, it is. Is it a daily? Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. We got a lot more dailies there that we can mark. 4-hour RTH, yes it is. And we got gaps. And this one's also a daily, weekly, monthly. So we'll clone it. And it's the all-time high. Now we'll go to 4-hour RTH. We could mark in some more dailies here if we wanted to, but I'm just going to stick with the 4-hour on this. Okay, so other features. We have gaps. We have gaps. I'm just going to put RTH gap because the gaps aren't always present on the daily chart. That's a big one. The question is, will we address it first before going down? Or will we leave it for the Santa Claus rally? We will fill these gaps. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. So we've just filled all these to the downside. Those are important things to have on your chart for sure. Okay, so then we have our 4-hour highs we need to mark out. We need to also mark when these correspond with a 4-hour regular trading hour as well. I need to move that down to where it was supposed to be. So that one is also a 4-hour. That's wrong. There we go. I don't think my brain is still functioning quite well after 2 days of 4 hours sleep. Oops. Put that right in the middle of the daily line. Okay. In the interest of time and me not having to type, that one is 1. We'll leave that one. That's all-time high as well. You could mark that if you wanted to. And this one, man, I must have the most boring live stream on YouTube. But it'll make you some money if you take the time to do this. And this one is not a 4-hour regular trading hour. I guess it is if we extend it all the way over to here. With a gap. With a freaking gap. Is that those relative equal lows? On the weekly? Nope. That one's all the way down here. It's a long way down. Will we get there? Man, that's crazy if we get there. I think we have enough marked. We're not gonna go there immediately on Monday or anything. So we have enough marked to the downside here. I just like to forward those because I know they're there and I know we're gonna be hitting them. Okay, so these are levels are mucho importante, so I'm gonna put them a little bit bigger. Anytime you have multiple time frames at a level, like daily, weekly, monthly, daily, weekly, monthly, that's very important levels. So you need to make sure you have those marked and somehow draw your eye to them that they're a very important level. This one was just created this week, leaving these regular trading hour 4-hour lows, which I think will be a target. Probably Monday. Maybe we fill this little gap and we reach down here. So we got to mark those. That's 4-hour only. They were the ones that my mind was drawn to on Friday. And then we go into these. That's the last ones. And then we had the big wick. So if we fill this gap and start offering lower, or don't fill the gap and start offering lower, maybe we open with a gap down. These are the levels we're going to be aiming for if we move down next week. Guaranteed we're moving to those levels. Now what if we do a bunch of this garbage and chop around, and you have a bad entry and you lose 4 trades trying to join this down move, but you catch the last one? That's 500 points to there. Another 50 to there. Goodness gracious, 800 points to there. Keep your size small. There's plenty of money to be made on the way down. No sense in getting too crazy about it. So those are my chart levels for next week. Is there anything else we need to look at? Let me think here. Definitely filling these gaps is a possibility. Oh yeah, we need to do some upside because we could go up. I'm so stuck on the fact that we could go start trading down that I'm not even looking at the upper 4 hours. Okay, let's see here. Blue. Clone. And blue. there. And there. And there. Should we do that one or that one? Those are relative equal highs. We're going to mark them as such. Okay, now we got one more up there, but let's go to a daily chart. That one would correspond pretty well with that one up there. Daily chart, right there. I don't think it would fall with the weekly because I think that one was the weekly. Yeah, it is. So we can mark that. We need to mark that. It's 2 time frames. That one's not a daily. That one's not a daily. This one is, but it's not a 4 hour. So that's it. That's it for the top side right there. That's a daily, but it's not a 4 hour. Let's go back and look. Yeah, it's not. That one is. So those are our relative equals. I think if we come up here, we will take out that one. So I'll move it up. So that's it on the upside. Pretty good amount of levels. Now I haven't gone over this in great detail in a while, so I'm going to maybe go over it real quickly. I would have to go back in time a little ways. We will look at this little setup right here. We'll go back in time and look at that, or we could even try another one. We'll do this one. I'm going to change the color of the lines to something else so we don't get them confused. But I think once we it's going to bleed into these. I'm going to go back in time even further. Let's see where I can find a good setup here. That one will work. I'm going to even go back further than that. Away from all of these. Yeah, right here is a nice one. Real nice one. I think, is that an AM? Yeah, that's AM session. So that one will work right there. We still got levels down there. I think this one will work. I don't know for sure, but we're going to take a peek. I'm going to put a box around it so we can find it easier. Right there. Oh, right there. Okay. And now we're going to go to a 1 minute. And go all the way back to where we just were. That wasn't it. It's this one here. 4 hour. Aha, here we go. Okay. I hope we have a good reversal pattern here after all of that. I don't even know if we do, but I bet we do. So on this day, it looks like the market opens and falls out of bed. And you had to be really patient. Man, that was the trash. But did we have a reversal pattern? So this is how we trade this system, okay? We wait for a 4 hour. I didn't put my 4 in there. A 4 hour level, regular trading hour level, not not on the extended chart, on the regular trading hour chart, because the market refers, the algorithm refers to levels created during the New York session. And it does that with any session. But if you want to go down and break down Asia and London and all their levels, you can. I don't want to. I only use New York for the levels. So, here's our PD array. We're falling out of bed. We finally make it down to a 4-hour regular trading hour low. Now, if you're in the market up here, you can see we opened, we pushed down, we came up, we swept that high. You could use this as a breaker, fair value gap, respected, and ride that sucker all the way down here to the low. That would have been a good thing, like a trade for yesterday. Once we get down to the low, you slept in, you missed all this. You're patient, you're waiting. We get to the low, and then you say, well, there could be a potential breaker here. And so you mark it out. The last up close candle before the lowest point is this guy. Right there. We make it purple, showing that it is a bullish breaker. And then we wait for a fair value gap to form above the last up close candle, the breaker. And so there it is. We got fair value gap here and one here. The first one, this one was part of it, so I wouldn't count that one. I would say right here would be our entry. So our entry would be one tick below the high of that candle. I'll just mark it with another line right there. So the low of that candle is, you can see it right up here whenever I put it on there, 813. So we'd be entering at 1275. And I'll just make that green, showing it's our entry. That's still 1325, 1275. That's close enough. And then our stop would need to be quite a bit lower. We would need to be at least below this fair value gap candle, which that would put us at 15. I like a 25-point stop, and that would get us to right there. I would probably just go ahead and leave the 25-point stop in place, but the potential of it trading all the way back down through this breaker is also possible. The top is where I like to see it respect, but a 25-point stop loss would have kept you in that trade. And where would you aim? The most recent swing high right there. So let's measure that. You may get a full pull all the way back to the top like we did yesterday, but that's 66 points. If that's the only trade you took out of the day, that would be $122 on one micro. And if it is the only trade you've taken of the day, you got a little bit more leverage. So let's say you have a $200 daily loss limit. Take that trade with 4 micros, and you make 500 bucks. That's it. That's the system. That's simple. It'll keep you from over trading. If you're like, oh well, we could get in somewhere around here and try to get for that 4-hour low. You could do that, but it is so unpredictable how many times you're going to go up and down and up and down and up and down before you get to that level. This is your money. This, I've done it. I do it all the time. I tried to do it Friday. I know once we get to a level, we're going to pull back. We're going to get to a significant level, we're going to pull back. Or we're going to get to a significant level and we're going to go back up. I know that. I've been studying the charts too long. I know that. This was probably somewhere around a 4-hour high or low. I don't see anything over there. I don't know why maybe that's the previous all-time high. I don't see any candles anywhere above that. But if you didn't get in up here, trying to get in as they were going down, it can smoke you quick. This actually doesn't look like too bad of a day in volatility. Yeah, it is. See, that's a 40-point candle back to the upside. So if you got in at this fair value gap, you might have been able to stay. If your stop was above those, you might have been able to stay in. But joining these down moves, like this one, would have been a good place to get in. So you would have been a tick above that or below that high. Your stop at the top of the candle, 26 points. That would have got you in. That would have got you in. And you can maybe mark it in on one of these. But what I typically do is I try to get in on a pullback. So I may have been trying to get in here, and then I chase, and then it rips up higher, and it gets me every time. So much smarter to wait until you see this. Much, much smarter. And that's it. That's the system. It works a lot. Now, the one we saw on Friday, we had 4 failed attempts before we finally had a fifth that worked. Or maybe 5 failed attempts if you count that last push down, because it went down 34 points. And so you have to keep that in mind. The system does work. But you may have a couple of failed breakers. Usually when we take a significant level, we don't see more than 3, but we did Friday. So you just have to have enough margin, enough stop. You don't want to risk $500 on one trade. You want to keep your risk parameters the same, but let it stop you out. You got to take that trade when you see that setup. You got to take it. Let's see here. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Yeah, so Friday, we took out that weekly low. You've got to take it when you see it. Even though you got smoked 3 times before, you got to take it. Because that would make up for everything you lost. Guaranteed. Is there anything else I wanted to talk to you about on this live stream? I could extend it longer and tell you my trading journey. You know, I always say, I'm not a pro, I'm learning this, and I can tell you very honestly, when I very first started getting involved with this, I did stocks, I saw some potential, and I was like, this is something I can learn to do. And at the time I was teaching school, making $40,000 a year, and I watched some videos from a guy named Ross Cameron, and he was doing day trading and making my monthly salary in a morning session. And so I was like, I want to learn to do that. I mean, that's an actual way where I could, have some financial freedom, because it's just always been a struggle when you're not making much money. I'm sure many of you can relate. And so I decided, if you're going to go, let's say you're going to go to school, you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, you make decent money. You get a job with some company and they make you their CEO, and maybe you make $250,000 a year. And you're pretty much, that company is going to be your baby from then on. You're going to be working 60, 80 hours a week, a lot of stress involved and all of that. So, but in order to go get a job like that, you usually have to go to school, and maybe you study for 3, 4, 5 years, and then you finally get the job, and then you hate it. You're miserable the rest of your life. You go, oh, I got to go to work. Oh, I can't go here. I can't take off work this week. Oh, my boss is a jerk. Oh, all of that to deal with. Or, and this was the way my mind worked, I can spend the time, just like I went to college to become a teacher to make $40,000 a year, I can spend the same amount of time studying this and actually have the potential to have a lifestyle I want, to make way more money. I can make doctor and lawyer money once I learn this thing, maybe even more than that. Why would I want to spend a whole bunch of time learning something I'm not even going to be happy when I get it learned? So that's why I got into trading. That's why I decided that this was an endeavor that it's not going to be easy. A lot of people fail. I didn't realize how difficult it would be. Some of the emotional things I've struggled with along the way, everything from suicidal thoughts to giving up, and you know, it will bring out every emotion you have. If you have any chinks in your armor, it's gonna make them show up. And I always felt pretty strong-minded, but this thing nearly broke me a few times. So it's not an easy journey. It really isn't. And there was a time I wanted to teach everybody how to do it because I was like, yeah, this is great. This is going to make this, you can set yourself financially free. And then when I started going through the ups and downs of the emotional stuff, I was like, man, I hated the guy that introduced it to me. I was mad at him. It was my girlfriend's dad at the time. I was mad at her for even introducing me to her dad. Oh, I was just so mad, and I wanted to teach my daughter how to do it, and then I was like, no, I don't even want her to have to bother learning this because it's just such a difficult emotional roller coaster getting involved with it, and you know, when you try so hard and fail, what you're seeing is 2 years of failure. I mean, really demoralizing failure. And that's just with Top Step. And I have another couple of years trading real money and losing all of it under my belt. I didn't really start day trading, like serious day trading. I started with stocks. That was probably 3.5 years ago. But then when I started with futures, that was probably maybe 3 years, maybe 2.5 at the most, 2.5 years. Is when I started with futures, and literally getting my teeth kicked in, day out, having a great day, making $3,000 or $4,000, and then losing it all, getting my teeth kicked in all the time. For all this time. So what you're seeing now, all of these systems that I've developed, they're not my systems. I need to make that perfectly clear. This is ICT's model. I think it's Silver Bullet model is what he calls it. I don't think he's as exact with the last up close candle, last down close candle on the reversal pattern. I think he uses a little bit different system, what he would call a breaker. That's just one that I noticed, a pattern I noticed. But he may say that's the breaker. But I want to say he's wanting it to take out a recent swing high and stay above it and then make a higher low. It's not exactly the same as what I'm doing, but it's close. The components are the same. The fair value gap and all of that, and it being respected, all of that is the same. But Silver Bullet, and there's another one, the mentorship, that says One Setup for Life. Both of those are really good videos, and they're the ones that I started learning. And then I would fail and I'd get mad and I'd get away from that, try some other system, and ultimately came back to this one and said I'm going to perfect it. I actually heard a video that he was talking. It was just one of his rants. But he said, if you can't draw your trading setup down on a napkin at a restaurant, when somebody says, hey, what do you use to get into a trade? If you can't sit there and write it out, then you don't have a trading setup at all. You're just gambling. You're just coming in here and clicking a mouse and hoping and praying. So when I heard that, I was like, well, can I draw out my trading setup? If I can't even draw it out, then I don't even know what I'm looking for. And so then I drew out this little setup here. And then I started looking for it in the market. And I would get into them because they appear other places. They're not like this one. This one did take out a 4-hour level. So I would have definitely taken that one. But like, one to the downside here, for example. This one went up. It took out some of this liquidity. It's to the downside right here. fair value gap, validated, but then we kind of went back up. Made a lower high, pushed through with another fair value gap. Entry there. It pushes down. You could have got points right there. But I actually was in that one, and I was expecting it to come down to this. But it didn't. And I held it thinking, oh, we're just going to come back up here to this breaker. I'm in the hole at that point. Oh, maybe we're just going to make a lower high again. I don't know what I was thinking, but I continued to hold it till I lost the trade. But what's the difference between this one and this one? That's what I had to learn, because I would get into these and they would fail and I would lose and I'd get mad. That's a 74-point run. And so then I was like, well, I'll just get in every one and then I'll only take 20 points, because if you see a reversal pattern anywhere in the tree, you can usually get 20 points. Like this one would be one. You don't get a place to enter, but it would be one. This one would have smoked you. But you can usually get 20 points when you see one. This one actually, yeah, that's the highest point, so that would be it. Then that would be your entry, and you could get at least 20 points. But what's the difference between this one and this one? On this one, we took out a weekly low. On this one, it's just happening in the sky on random daily, intraday levels. Maybe a 5-minute level, maybe a 15-minute level. It's happening there. But this one is your money shot. This one is going to get you the kind of points that will set you financially free. This one will too if you're trading big size. I mean, even 70 points, if you were able to get 70 points, aiming for that, you would have got about 60 points. That's 120 bucks on a micro. Nothing to sneeze at. I bet if we go to a 15-minute chart, we can see, yeah, we took out that high and that high on the 15-minute chart, and then we pulled back. About half of that candle, I guess. So you could have traded that one. It's a higher time frame being taken. I've found over the last, I would say May is when I started having a whole lot more success with this. I probably have to go back to March or so when I started seeing I was getting in these trades. The setup was right, but they would fail, and that's what I determined to be the reason most of them, when they fail, is because they haven't taken out a higher time frame. And so I started out with just 4-hour highs and lows, and then I went to regular trading hour highs and lows, and I find that the regular trading hour highs and lows are the most accurate for reversal patterns. And when they align with a daily and a weekly and a monthly, that's a magnet level. And so this one we took out the weekly, and that's where we put up our reversal pattern. We took it out at 804, which was here, and then we put up one, and we put up another, and we pushed lower, and then we finally put up the right one. There it is. So even here, even once we took it, we still failed. So they're not always going to pay you the very first one. You have to give yourself a little bit of leeway and enough stop loss and enough margin to be wrong a couple of times. But when you're right, you're going to be big right. Just don't shoot all your bullets in one trade. Is kind of what I would say with that. What other components am I missing? I think that's it. Higher time frame. You can do the intraday, but it's just less accurate. And the other thing that I do a lot is whenever I see a directional day, because we've had so many directional days, is I don't know how far it's going down or whatever. I'll try to get into a trade and get out, get in and get out. And I've been trading way too much. Logically, I know if I wait for that, I lose one trade, I lose two trades. Because if I waited for that 804 to get taken, I would have lost two trades, and then I would have won a trade. I may have lost that one too. I may have lost three trades, but then I would have won, and I would have won big. So keep your size small enough that you can endure a couple or maybe even 3 losses before you get your win. I would say 1 micro doesn't pay you a whole lot of money, but it can, it'll cover your losses. I like 2 micros better than 1, but if you're low, if your balance is low, you could do 2 micros. If you only have, like, if you think you got $100 left in your account, 1 micro. Wait for a 4-hour high or low to get taken. Wait for that reversal pattern and get in. And you can grow your account from there if you're at $100. But you may lose the first one, but get back in it when it, like this one, when it came down. That's 34 points from where you entered. Stopped you out. But then we go back up. Get in. It's worth it. Try it. I'm getting better every day, guys. Only 7% of the people ever get a payout. And I got my second. And I feel like after all of my struggles, I'm finally seeing some fruit. I'm finally seeing some success. And I know I'm still going to have bad days. I know it. I heard a little reel from Rips the other day, and he said that he's trading real money in his personal account, and he said, I'm walking in here today, I've got $389,000 in my personal account, and I could blow this thing up today. And he said, if you don't know that you could come in here and absolutely obliterate $389,000 in one day after trading for 4 years and having a wonderful success, then you don't know what trading is all about. He said, if you don't understand that, then you don't know. Because he's, he has been doing it and he is very successful. But he understands himself to know that he can go nuts and take some stupid trades. And that's what I'm working through right now, is trying to be patient. I want to get to the point where I can say, okay, I've had a bad night's sleep. I want to make money today, but maybe today I'm not going to be reading the market well, and avoid it altogether that day. But right now I'm still at the point where I'm like, I want to make money every day. One other thing before I go. I wrote down this hypo on a piece of paper, I don't know, probably a year ago. With Top Step, you get to the point where you're getting funded, you're getting payouts. If you can get 5 of their XFAs and you trade copy those 5 and make $200 a day, which you can do on 1 micro and never risk blowing up your account. $200 a day average, okay? So you have the losing day. There are some days on this account where I made $2,700. I think I was trading 4 micros on those days, but I've made $300 or $400 on 1 micro before. But let's just say you do that and you average $200 a day. There are 22 trading days average in a month, and so that's with 5 accounts, $1,000 a day times 22 days. Trading micros, never blowing up your account. How many of you would enjoy making $22,000 a month trading full time and never risk blowing up your account? Maybe you do 2 micros with $100 stop loss. Even if you have a bad day, even if you take a couple of trades, you're going to lose $300. You're going to call it, put your DLL in there, because I know how you think, oh, I can get this back. Nope, not today. Put your DLL in there, liquidate and block. Take yourself out of the equation. The next day, maybe you'll be more patient. You'll wait for that level to get taken and wait for your trade setup to happen. So those are your 2 homework lessons. Draw out your trading plan on a napkin. Reduce your size. Try to average $200 a day. That will train you for when you get your XFA. I mean, you can have days where you can hit $1,000. I mean, if you see it clearly a level up there where the market could be going, let it go. Maybe you make $600 that day. Maybe you lose 200 the next. But overall, if you can average $200 a day, 5 accounts, that's $22,000 a month. And I think most people would be happy making $22,000 a month. So that's your homework. That's what I'm attempting to do. I do have 3 XFAs now. Yeah. Got one more combine I'm working on getting funded. My money's tight. It always is tight. My main source of income right now has been Uber. While I'm trying my very best to make it trading. But so money's tight. Money's always tight. Sometimes I don't even have the money to buy a new combine. And right now I've got an XFA in there. I don't have the money to fund it. So when I get my payout, it should be here Monday or Tuesday, then I'll fund that last one and I'll trade copy with a goal of just averaging 200 a day. With 3 accounts, that's 600 a day. I'm just going to do times 20. So that 20, 600 times 10 is 6,000. Times 20 would be $12,000. I think I can live on that for a little while until I get the other 2 funded. Yeah. So you don't have to make millions and millions of dollars on each trade. You don't have to have a $10,000 trade. I've done it and it feels great. But one trade I'm wrong and I lose my account. And that's not okay. Professional traders don't lose their account every week. So you have to develop a system that will allow you to keep your account and still make money. That's the way I'm rolling from here on out. DLL, lock myself out, only trade my plan. Did not do well with it yesterday. That's another reason I started live streaming, so you guys can hold me accountable when I have days like yesterday. Jamie Salgado, he was watching and he was saying, "Man, you're just going nuts." He was putting it in the chat. And I was like, yeah, he was right. I was not having good entries. I was not holding trades. I was trading like a freaking idiot. And you know, that still happens. So I wish it didn't, but it's all part of the journey. Maybe I look at all the growth I've had over the last 2 years, unrecognizable from when I started. I was hopeful, but I had no idea what I was doing. And now I do have a pretty good idea of what I'm doing. Maybe in another 3 or 4 months, I'll quit I hope it's this week. I'll quit having those days where I try to enter in trash like this, trying to catch a move down. I know when we get here, I'm going to get a trade. But if I try to catch that move down, I get burned every time, but I still try. Why? Why do I still try? Let it go. When it gets where it's going, you'll get a trade. Oh, I can't think of anything else. I'm sure I will as soon as I end the stream. But Etienne Crete, I mentioned that to Adam. He's a buddy of mine. He has a lot of interviews with traders that tell their story. And I really enjoy listening to some of those guys. Some of them talk about how, you know, I've gotten a lot of pushback from family. After 2 years, I'm over here struggling. Let me see if I can find him. Etienne. I don't know if that's going to pull him up or not. I got too many E's and too many T's. Too many anythings. There he is. Okay, so this is the guy right here. The name of his channel is Desire to Trade, and he'll get in here and talk to people all different walks of life, but they're professional traders, and they do everything from scalping. This guy, I guess, is a fairly new one. He works with him quite a bit, but it's really interesting to hear their journeys, hear them tell their stories about how they, failed for many, many years, but, they knew they could do it and they kept going. This guy, Andrew Menaker, really, really good psychologist. I'd recommend if you're struggling or you just want to hear some different perspectives. These guys are good, and they're in the industry. They know what they're talking about. It's not a scam or anything. They're not trying to sell you anything. I like them a lot. The people I've learned, ICT's got some good videos, but he's a ranter. He will talk for 2 hours about somebody that said something on Twitter that pissed him off. I still like listening to him, but you're going to hear some of that along the way. And his knowledge on the market is spot on. But this guy, I really like his interviews with the traders. There's another one called Chat with Traders. I know it's in my subscriptions somewhere. Let's see. I look at a lot of traveling and sailing and stuff. There's Etienne. Tanya's good for live streaming. She's trading ICT concepts live a lot better than me. Corbs has some really good interviews with traders as well. I watched him when I was learning about market profile, and he's actually the only YouTuber that was able to land an interview with ICT, and I happened to saw it, and I happened to see it, and that's how I got introduced to ICT. So yeah, Corbs, pretty good guy. He trades market profile. I'm not a market profile guy anymore, but I did try to learn it. That was one of the strategies I did along the way. But he's got some good stuff, good interviews and whatnot. Let's go back to our list. I think this one's, I thought it was called Chat with Traders. But maybe not. Convergent Trading. They're a prop firm channel, but they have some good information on there. There it is, Chat with Traders. Some of these are good, some of them are not so good. I mean, that's all good information, but some of them do not resonate with me. But it's good information, and not anybody on here trying to sell you stuff. I don't know. It's something I like to listen to, especially when I'm struggling. Winning through losing when 30% is enough. Daniel Cortez Lopez. That sounds like a turtle trade type of situation. Some of it doesn't resonate with me, but some of it does. Emotional intelligence. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to develop right now. And the emotions that I'm trying to learn are mine. They're my emotions that I'm trying to learn to deal with. The things that make me go nuts on a Friday and blow $600 in profit and in the day in the hole. Those have got to go away. I've got to be able to recognize them. Menaker says there's a little window between when you really do something stupid and you just thought about doing something stupid. He said once you can expand that window and don't do the stupid thing, then you're on to something. So I'm still trying to get that window to open a little bit wider. See if there's anybody else that has influenced me along the way. Matt Miller, I like Matt Miller a lot. His trading system is not the same Y'all know Matt Miller, Trades by Matt. This is him right here. He's a Texas boy. He's actually rented out a building in Austin area and made like a trading office. Like other people can come there, bring their computer or laptop or whatever, and they'll have a desk so they can trade and chat with other traders there in his office, in his building he rented. But he's really doing well. He did Apex, got 20 accounts funded, and was doing that $200 a day with them. $200 a day times 20, $4,000 a day. And he had some really good. I know there was one of them, I think in the first 3 months of this year or last year, maybe it was, $306,000 he withdrew live on YouTube. Really a great trader. He does scalping more so than that's his trading room right there, his new office, and he'll actually rents rooms for people if you or y'all can just go hang out. I don't know. I just remember him talking about it on his channel. Good guy, not trying to sell you anything, and you know he does have some sponsorships with the prop firms or whatever, but it's just discount codes like this TBM, 80% off type stuff. But yeah, that one video was a $300,000 payout, which these are not bad. They're not bad. 120,000 in 30 days. $1 million funded trader. 1 million in funded trading. Wow. That was kind of his goal. But yeah, a good kid, smart, fun to listen to. Highly recommend watching his videos. I prefer trading my system over his because it's just too complicated for me. He uses VWAP and VWAP bands and range candles and oh man, a lot of stuff. What is that? Delta. He uses Delta, divergence, and it's too much for me to watch, so I just keep it simple. 4-hour low, reversal pattern, got it. 4-hour high, reversal pattern, got it. Don't need any indicators, don't need any of that. And scaling back to that has really helped me improve. All right, so one more time, your homework. Draw your trading plan out on a napkin. If you can't do it, you don't have a trading plan. Think about sizing down. What can I do to never blow up an account again? How could I trade where I would never blow up another account? Maybe I don't make money as fast, but if I'm not blowing up accounts, I will make money over time. Okay, so that's another thing. And watch some of these videos here. They're really good guys. They help me understand my trading journey better when I hear other people say, I went through that same damn thing. And you know, it just helps me know that maybe I'm not insane after all. I guess you would say. That's it for me, guys. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. These chart levels, I'm going to put them up here big where you can see them again, because they're going to be, I'm going to put it on a bigger time frame, like a 15-minute. They're going to be coming into play, either the high ones or the low ones. They're going to definitely be coming into play. I got all this stuff that I need to get rid of, because that was all that I was doing the example on. There we go. Yeah, so mark them out. You can get it to this part of the video and blow those up and get all the levels over here or whatever you need to do. I think the first ones that are going to be coming into play, the most important, is going to be this one, that one, and this one. But ultimately, these down here are also going to be coming into play. And if we go up, it's going to be, this one's a daily. These are just RTH. But any of them could be a reaction point for a reversal. Anything in between those, don't even mess with it. Just wait for that 4-hour high or low to get taken. If you do that, you'll be in the money. You'll be in the money.